You have a question about the upcoming old world. Sorry, I had to start the recording. All right, we're hunting down School of the Cat gear. Let's get to it. Smogog, how you doing, man? I feel like I haven't seen you for a hot minute. How you been? Oh, I missed. Down he goes. Oh, God. Okay.
I want to look around some.
Jake Woo, Knuckle, Gothic Spike. Good to see you all. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Got it.
Yotam 9 cheered. X100. How common are warrior priests of Ranald? What roles do they perform?
Oh, that's Kotek. What is your old world question? How common are warrior priests of Ranald? Pretty much non-existent. I don't think they do exist. That being said, there are priests of Ranald. And they do have like miracles or prayers. But a warrior priest of Ranald is, I have never heard of that. Not all of the cults have warrior priests. Some do, but not all. I would definitely put Ranald under the probably doesn't category. However, I can read you off. Does Ranald have miracles? Let's see. We've got Verena, Ulrich, Paul, Sigmar, Shalia, Raya, Ranald. Here we go. All right, here. I'll read these to you. Miracles of Ranald. An invitation. You spin one of Ranald's riddles concerning portals and whether they exist if closed. A door, window, or hatch you target has the method of securing it undone. A lock magically unlocks, a latch unlatches, a rope unties. So they can basically call upon Ranald to unlock doors for them. Cat's eyes. Does anything exist that cannot be seen? You riddle with Ranald, who sends a divine servant in the form of a cat as an answer. The cat looks like and has the capabilities of a normal cat, but cannot be harmed in any way. While this miracle is in effect, the priest of Ranald in question perceives everything the cat perceives, sight, sound, and touch, and controls its movement. Your senses are as sharp as a cat's, but you do not have access to any of your own sense-enhancing abilities. However, while this miracle is in effect, the priest of Ranald cannot perceive anything through their own senses, leaving them vulnerable. So they can basically like astral project themselves into a invulnerable god cat. Ranald's grace. You call on Ranald to let your target negotiate the riddles of reality. Whoever you target with this miracle gains bonuses to agility, stealth, and gains the catfall talent, which makes them better at recovering from falls. Rich man, poor man, beggar man, thief. You smile at Ranald as you cheekily ask others, what exactly is wealth? For each target affected, choose one option. You make one person... Oh, you can make one person's purse appear as if it is empty. You can make another person's purse appear as if it is full. You can make one person's attire appear as if they are wearing cheap and make them look cheap and unremarkable. and you can make another person's attire look as if they are rich and finely crafted. And then you can select a single valuable item which will become impossible for anyone to perceive. There's Stay Lucky. Crossing your fingers, you pose Reynolds' enigma and ask what exactly is luck. It makes you luckier for a while. And then You Ain't Seen Me, right? You spin a complex conundrum concerning the reality of that which is unperceived. Targets affected by this miracle may pass unnoticed and unremarked, providing they do nothing to draw attention to themselves, such as touching, attacking, calling out to someone, casting a spell, or making a loud noise. So there you go. That is what the prayers of Ranald do. They are very much in favor of those who seek to trick, deceive, or steal. Why does Five Guys think a burger and fries is worth $25? I don't know. Some inflation, some economy, something. Where do baby forest spirits come from? The forest itself. So like Ethel Lauren and the seeds of Ethel Lauren. So like they're born from the weave. That being said, I don't think there are tons of new spirits, but actually no, there's probably a pretty regular amount of new spirits created somewhat frequently, but they emerge from the weave and from like the magic that flows through Ethel Lauren. Because you have to remember that forest spirits are not actually trees. That's just their war aspect. They just appear to look like trees. Where am I going? Okay, I need to go left and up there. Be mindful of the fork tongue or whatever the hell that is up there. Let's go ask their question further up. I don't know why you didn't just include it in the... Oh, there it is. Also, Smoghog, The Hammond 3, Propofin, Chunky Nurgling, Alex Loeb, 2203, Shurjurjin, Spoonblur 98, Fangs Out, and Mobs. Good to see you all. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Okay, more left. I think it's at the top. So I missed to post half the message. Do I believe Games Workshop will reveal new units because of the old world? Like, do I believe CA will get the option to add... Okay, Vayer, good to see you. Smoghog, quit micromanaging my posture. So Exotech, is your question, is Games Workshop gonna make new models? Like I'm struggling a bit to understand what exactly the question is asking. Yeah, like, do I think the old world's gonna have new models? Absolutely. I think it's gonna have a ton of new models. Oh, is Total War gonna get new designs? Probably not. At least not a bunch. Cobalt Moon, thanks so much for gifting a sub. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. That was super sweet of you. I really appreciate the support. Thank you.
Joins the rest. Cursed Sotek spawn.
Orders say not living souls to leave without a pass. We can wait till he dies.
Might want to look around some.
Yarnath, good to see you. So what I would say is that
Plenty more to all now, so we work shifts. Crematory's fire.
oh, hello. You have something to find in here.
Ugh. Those children are a plague.
What I was going to say is, well, yeah, Brandon's right. You have to remember that Games Workshop has been heavily involved with Creative Assembly for Warhammer 3 to the point that we got to see the Ice Guard from, like, we saw them in the Total War Warhammer 3 trailer, but the Ice Guard were designed by Games Workshop, like their full design and everything. Total War obviously brought them to life, but the designs of all of the stuff that's coming out is already probably done. Like, I would imagine the vast majority of the old world models, because the models are like have to be done months in advance. It is not or sometimes years in advance. It is not like it's not like a video game or something where, like, you know, they can get away with a few months ahead. Usually, like, the art, like, you know, they make the art, they have like a bunch of concept art, and then they like choose the art they want to go with, and then from there they narrow it down to like okay, we like these pieces of art, so now they have to send it off to a sculptor, and the sculptor has to take the art and try and interpret it into like an actual miniature. And then once the mold is, or once the sculpt is made, then they have to create a mold out of the sculpt, which requires sending it off and, you know, creating a proper thing around it. And once they make a mold out of it, then it has the ability to start like having models actually printed in the proper material. And then they have to figure out, like, how's the model gonna be like broken down so that it can be printed in parts, so that it can be put on a sprue. Oh, hello. You know, so there's a lot to consider, and a lot going on. So these things have almost always been decided like insanely far in advance, which is good. But so the answer to your question is yes. I do think their new designs are going to have a significant impact on everything in Total War. However, I don't think they're gonna like go back and change anything. So like anything that's already been made in Total War, I don't think they're gonna go back and be like, oh, well, we're gonna adjust the way this unit works because now we have like new art or a new mini. Stuff like that. Okay, this chest was glowing a second ago. Why did it stop glowing? Oh, I know. That's not the right chest. Where is this diagram? Oh, Cobble Moon, I've been listening to quite a bit of people talking about their favorite aspects of the books, and they definitely make a hard case for it. I'll tell you that. It's something I think I'd like to check out at some point. I don't know when, because I don't really have the time right now, but at some point. Where the fudge is this thing? Because I looted this. I want to just double check up here. What the fudge? Where is it? There must be, like, no, nothing back here. Is there a way to get inside of it? Why does GW seem to hate Nippon? I don't think GW hates Nippon. I just think that they've kind of had to make a list of priorities, and they're just working their way down the list, and Nippon's just not that high on the list. Just because it's so isolated, and it's such a very, very, very specific culture based on a very small, though interesting, nation. Is this quest bugged? Like, what is going on here? Wait, is it in here? No. Maybe it's in the other one? I think I saw another one over here. Are you in here? Yes, you are. Nice. Oh, okay, we're off to Skellige. Back to Skellige! Booyah! Okay, we want to go. Are Vermin Lords basically superior to all mortal Skaven? Yes. Yeah, there is no Skaven that surpasses a Vermin Lord of the same type. And whatever it is they all specialize in. Okay, I do want to knock out these two question marks real quick. You have to remember though that Vermin Lords are essentially demon princes as opposed to like traditional greater demons. So they are like mortal Skaven who impressed the Great Horned Rat so much that he took them and remade them into a demonic power to grant them immortality and allow them to serve him for eternity, as opposed to like just a fragment of the Great Horned Rat that he like peeled off of himself. Wait, what? Did I teleport to the wrong place? What am I doing? Oh, yes I did. What the fuck? Where is that pointing to? That was weird. All right. Guarded treasure. And who, pray tell, is guarding it? Oh, a Cyclops. I didn't know there were Cyclops in this area. I thought they were all in Skellige. We found like a shitload in Skellige. Hello. Done. All right, now we can go to Skellige. Oh wait, no, there's one more mystery here, which is on Bald Mountain. Because I remember we got close and it was bad time the last time we went there, but that was a long time ago.
Yotam 9 cheered. X100. Gotta say, was a bit miffed at GW pretending anything with the end times was foreshadowed / well planned in advance in the blog post.
So
the end times had long been foreshadowed in the background of Warhammer Fantasy
so
Battle.
What they mean by that, they're technically correct, but they don't mean what you think they meant. Whoop. Oh, you can't get there yet. Okay. Well, thank you for telling me. That way I don't waste my time. All right, so off to Skellige. We also still apparently need to go like way the hell up here for some reason. I don't know how I haven't been there yet, but we'll deal with that in a minute. So in answer to the technicality of was the end times heavily foreshadowed and long foreshadowed in Warhammer Fantasy? Yes, it was. There is a significant amount. Oh, it's a DLC area. Okay, cool. There is a ton, I mean a ton of content from Old Hammer, like 5th edition, all the way up through 8th, about building up to the end times. About how the end times is coming. It's, Archaon is it. Everything, the ruination of all you know and love is, it's on the way. So, like, the end times as a concept, yes, was very heavily foreshadowed. Now, was the end times itself, like the actual,
Not your lucky day.
Was the actual event of the end times well handled? No. But that's not what they meant by that. I feel very, very confident what they were referring to was the idea that the end times, as a concept, had long been foreshadowed, which is true. In keeps notes. That was right before dusk. Then a witcher showed, dirty and unshaven and stinking worse than a fisherman from Faroe. Asked for a room and a bucket of water so he could freshen up some. First, I didn't want to let him in on account of the bloody sack he was carrying, but then it came out he had arranged to meet Jorgen Ironhand here, and a friend of Jorgen's is a friend of mine. Probably Jorgen, actually. Sun had set long by the time Jorgen showed. Witcher handed him that sack, and we all learned why it stank so bad. Instead, it was the head of a siren. Jorgen had contracted the Witcher to take it down after it attacked some folk in the cave in the Nestern part of Spikerug. Seeing it dead cheered folk awful fast, and Jorgen, happy as a clam, started buying everybody rounds. The Witcher refrained at first, saying he was off to take care of his three guys that had infested the ruins of the fortress on the northern edge of the isle. But in the end, he gave in. After all, there's no refusing Jorgen. Made a lovely heap of coin that day, for the sun started rising and not a man had gone home. The Witcher got drunk with Jorgen and started telling us tales, and we sat down for some gwent. That Garrett, he might be a first-class warrior, but he's one lousy card player. Lost half his reward for that siren to me, and drank the other half. Then, wanting to win some back, he wagered a diagram for some kind of steel sword. My eye was a scrap of rubbish, but fuck it, some things you gotta do for the sake of sportsmanship and camaraderie, so I accepted the wager. Wow. This is a nice innkeeper. It's sad that it seems very heavily implied that I guess he's dead. Alright, search the Siren's Cave. Would a Warp Seer dumpster Thankful? I don't know about it would dumpster him, but a Warp Seer is going to, on average, defeat him. And would potentially be... and would, like, Thankful would be, like, very scared. But Thankful is also, like, deceptively strong and powerful. But a Warp's... Like, Thankful is a special case, though. The average Grace here would be absolutely curb stomped by a Warp Seer. How's Sadie after the vet? She's good. She was a very well-behaved pupper.
X100. But was the idea that chaos winning is inevitable really that well established?
Yes.
I thought that just like how there were prophecies about this, there were prophecies about Sigmar/Sotek coming back and beating chaos.
So the realistic answer to that is that Warhammer Fantasy very, 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 very heavily treats the idea that it's already a foregone conclusion. Chaos won the instant it appeared in the world. Everything that happened afterwards was just delaying the inevitable. The setting very deliberately paints it that way. There are many individuals or forces that try to fight against it, but ultimately, from like the core concept of the setting, and like from a narrative perspective, whenever there's like a narrator who's not actually in the universe, but it's just like an omniscient narrator, the omniscient narrator will always tell you that the victory of chaos is inevitable. One of the things that I really like to do as a lore creator is try and find ways that maybe that wasn't necessarily the case, but it is completely undeniable that fantasy used to be a lot more grimdark than it is now, or that it ended up being, to be honest. If you go back to like 6th edition fantasy or 5th edition fantasy, they were very, very heavy. Like, everybody's fucked. Like, there's no way anybody survives. Like, everyone is super screwed. Chaos is going to win inevitably, and there's no stopping it. There's only delaying it. 7th and 8th edition kind of started to push the idea that maybe there was a way to defeat chaos. Maybe there was a way that it could be stopped, or something like that. And it toyed around with it a lot more, which ended up tying up very heavily to the end times. Because Age of Sigmar flat out tells us that Age of Sigmar is very blunt about Warhammer Fantasy. And one of the things that Age of Sigmar very bluntly says is that the end times was actually a coin flip. While the forces of chaos did end up coming out on top, it was not guaranteed. And if chaos had lost that coin toss, they would have been fucked. Like, that would have been game over for chaos. It would have been like the final defeat of chaos on the Warhammer world. But chaos won the coin flip in the end. So ultimately, yes, from Fantasy's perspective, the victory of chaos and the end times as it happened is inevitable and there's no stopping it. However, there is a lot of wiggle room in it. And a lot of the prophecies kind of that we got during the end times and leading up to the end times point out how everything was not as set in stone as it had to have been. But yeah, it is what it is. Yes, Age of Sigmar is very much about hope, where Fantasy is more about survival. And 40k is just miserable. Because 40k is still technically grimdark, even though it's not really written very grimdarky, at least right now. I know that spell he threw at the Skaven next to Skrulk that sounded like... Who is he? Ikatalka and Grossgob. Good to see you guys, by the way. Welcome to the stream. Also, thanks for all the bits, guys. Really appreciate it. And Gree, thank you for the 16 months. I don't know if I said that yet, but thank you very much, Gree, for the 16 months. Hope you're doing well. My dearest Anger Borga. Arrived at Fort Two Streak on Summer's first day. He tarried there a while, draining more than one barrel of mead with Jarl. Soon both were fast friends, and one day Jarl Torgir summoned me and ordered me to sail to Spikarug with him to show him where the sirens were the thickest. It's no exaggeration, my little mountain goat, to say I've never been a warrior like him in my life. He's lithe as Neil, strong as a bear. When the sirens came at us, I hadn't even time to see my axe where he gutted them all, and his weapon, why I've never seen its like. A crossbow, but so small he wields it with one hand. I know he has a sketch of it in his saddlebags, for I spied it up when he was packing up. Once he's asleep, I'll try to sketch a copy to take to our smith and on Skellig, so he can make others, so we can protect ourselves from the sirens in case they return. Bleh. As soon as dawn breaks, we're off. Sirens are swarming thicker and thicker. My hands are numb from so much sword swinging after my breath's ragged, but thinking of you gives me strength. The rest of the letter illegible. Bummer. Sounds like he definitely died. Got the Ursine crossbow. Oh, Thanquol threw a spell at Skrull Thunder. Thanquol and Skrull, so pre-end times Thanquol is very dead even with Skrull. They are very, very equal opponents. Though if Thanquol doped himself up with some Warpstone, I do think that Thanquol would come out on top. But he would need to use Warpstone to reliably do it, which he honestly he rarely has a problem with. Giants, Cyclopses. Thanquol versus Ikit? Thanquol, actually. They also fight each other. Thanquol fights almost every Skaven special character over the course of his storyline, which is very funny to me. Like, most characters that have interesting, like, trilogies, it would be about them, like, fighting other famous characters, but Thanquol's is him about... Literally, Thanquol's entire trilogy, he fights almost every single Skaven special character, which is hilarious. But Thanquol versus Ikit, Thanquol is definitely a more powerful wizard than Ikit Claw is. Ikit has some pretty nasty tricks up his sleeve. And obviously if Bone Ripper's involved, Thanquol rather reliably takes any of these fights. However, it's not easy necessarily to predict what would go down between Ikit and Thanquol. Though in the book, it's more heavily implied that Thanquol could defeat Ikit one-on-one. Though what exactly would happen between the two of them would be difficult to say, because it would basically be Thanquol's sorcery versus Ikit Claw's ingenuity, which gets very complicated very quickly. It also kind of comes down to, like, if Thanquol's willing to use Warpstone. Like, if Thanquol is willing to go whole hog and take Warpstone and, like, allow himself to go full crazy, he's basically unstoppable. I really wouldn't say there's any Skaven character except for Screech Vermin King who could reliably fight and defeat Thankful if Thankful decided to go all out.